It's a energy healing modality. It's simple, it's transformative. This is allowing us to process and release the trapped emotions that we've acquired throughout our life where we didn't know how to process emotions, right? That's not something we learn in society nowadays, is how to process emotions. Now, emotions are thoughts or feelings in motion. They're supposed to move through our body. We're supposed to feel all the range of emotions and process that and move through it and release it. And for most of us, we sit in an emotion and it gets stuck, and we sit in that, whether it's anger or sadness or guilt or shame, whatever that might be. We don't know necessarily how to process it and move through it because it's not something that we learn nowadays. So let's see, next slide. With the emotion code, what we can do is we can see benefits in many different areas. Today, we're talking about basically the relationship with ourself and how our past has created a Christmas season or a holiday season that we're no longer wanting to repeat, right? And the emotion code benefits range more than that. And so I just let you know that this can have an effect on our relationship with other people as well. It can help us relieve actual physical pain in our body. And it can help you create more success in your life because you're going to be open to more abundance whenever we have cleared ourselves of these emotions. As we're doing this, when you learn more about energy healing, and maybe you already know this, we are not only healing ourselves, but we are healing that pattern so that our children do not have to go through that same pattern. We're not handing that down to them as generational emotional baggage, right? So this is super powerful. And what I want to let you know about how it works is that we are going to use the governing meridian, which in Chinese medicine tells us that the way energy runs in our body, one of the ways that energy runs in our body, is through the governing meridian. And it is going to start between the eyes, go over the center of the head, and continue down the spine. We're going to be using that motion that you just saw me do on the screen with 3 fingers in between my eyes and grazing along. There's no pressure. It's just grazing along the center of my skull down to the back of my neck. You don't have to go down the entire spine, even though the governing meridian does run that far. What this is helping us do is there is just enough magnetism held in our fingertips that magnetism is helping us get that energy flowing properly in the correct direction. And that is helping us release the negative energy that is trapped emotions. So everything is energy. That's the basis of all energy work, is that everything is energy, all the way down to the atoms that we used to think is the smallest particle is not, right? It goes down to nothing but energy. So thoughts and emotions are energy. These get trapped in our body, which means we have negative energy trapped in our body that we don't need to be there. That's what can lead to dis-ease. So the pain, the heartache, the emotional discomfort. Okay, so what's really cool about this with emotion code is we know that it affects our heart and the way we feel a whole lot. So we're going to talk a little bit about the heart and the heart wall and how we are so much more efficient at releasing these negative emotions that are affecting our heart. So we'll go on to the next slide. Thank you, my dear. Okay, so the heart is at the center of it all. And if we look at this scientifically, we know that electromagnetically, the electric waves currents that go through the heart and the body have been studied since about 1895 and they used the EKG to measure that electric activity in our heart. And more recently, the MCG, the magnetocardiogram, has been used to measure the magnetic field of the heart. Now, with this, it has been used in clinical situations, hospitals, doctor's offices, that sort of thing. In about, I think 2013 was the first time it entered into hospitals. So the research has been there, but the application has not. What they found, though, is that magnetic field of the heart, that, let me back up, the energy is what is flowing through the heart. Just like we just talked about, the governing meridian is energy flowing through our body. Well, the magnetic field is not just in one place, it's a field. So it goes up to 12 feet around our heart. So it extends outside of our body. This shows us that the studies within this magnetism have shown us that every beat of our heart sends messages through the entire body to all of our cells, and our brain obeys the messages sent by our heart. That's why our emotions can be so hard to overcome, because it's telling our brain what we want. Maybe our heart wants, it thinks it wants to feel sad, or it does feel sad right now, and we can't outthink that sometimes, right? We can't mind over matter it. And so the heart thinks for itself, and it has the ability to remember things. So this is really cool side note that there are a lot of stories of people with heart transplants who all of a sudden have desires and urges for things they've never liked. Maybe it's Cajun food, maybe it's classical music, and they find out where their heart donor, where their donated heart came from, and that person was from Louisiana and loved Cajun food, or it was a violinist who practiced classical music. So it's really cool to see how our heart has memory and how we can use this to be releasing trapped emotions and negative energy that's impacting our heart, which impacts every cell in our body, which can cause us pain and can cause us